already, gang. Welcome back to the Active Self-Protection Podcast. I am your host, Mike Willoughby, your favorite former Fed. I'm a little flustered because my guest and I, my new friend Chris, this is our third attempt to start this recording because we're having audio gremlins abound.
Today's video is brought to us by Barrel Block. Barrel Block is an excellent dry fire training aid that we've used for years and recommend. It provides an easy-to-see indicator that your firearm is empty and safe for dry practice. It comes in all service calibers and can be installed and removed in seconds without disassembling your gun. It's an inexpensive, easy way to give more margin for safety, so go pick one up today.
For some reason, but I think we've got it fixed now. So
yeah, so far it seems okay.
It does indeed. All right. So anyway, folks, Chris, my new friend Chris here is from my home state of Maryland. We have similar interests, including our sports teams. He is in manufacturing and married with no kids. So, Chris, for the third time, how are you, sir?
I'm doing really well. Thanks for asking.
Outstanding. So, as I've said several times now to no one, now to our audience, hopefully, Maryland is kind of a cool place to be from. I'm glad I don't live there anymore for, I think, obvious reasons for anyone who pays attention to the Second Amendment and sort of gun rights stuff. But my understanding is that is improving in Maryland. And I always tell people I'm from near DC because nobody knows where Montgomery County is or Prince George's County unless they're from, the DMV, which is, if you hear me say that on the channel, the DMV is DC, Maryland, and
Virginia.
Yeah, it's all sort of it's all one big giant metro area. So at any rate, so Chris and I are both fans of the Washington Commanders football team, Redskins. And
yes.
he is a Nationals fan. I am one of those people that grew up in a time when he's wearing an appropriate World Series champion T-shirt. By the way, you're worse than Gutowski, by the way, with the T-shirts. So I grew up at a time before the Nationals were a team, and after the Baltimore Colts had left Baltimore. So a lot of people in my generation were Redskins. Back then, it was the Redskins / Orioles fans, fun fact, which is where I find myself most of the time. Although I don't not root for the Nationals since they are kind of from my hometown. So Chris, I really appreciate you writing in. As I say, probably to people's annoyance at this point, if it weren't for people like you, there wouldn't be a podcast because just listening to me wouldn't be all that interesting. So thank you very much for writing in. Tell us about yourself a little bit. Are you someone with a self-defense history? Did you grow up around guns? Are you a shooter, CCW holder, martial artist, anything like that?
No, I never grew up with guns or self-defense mindedness. It wasn't until a video I watched when I was a teen that I got even thinking about, hey, I need to start actually protecting myself. It's because of that that eventually led me to this channel, Active Self-Protection. But I didn't really grow up with guns. It wasn't until I was a teen and when my dad got like a little Ruger 22 rifle. We just got it to shoot pests around the land, but it seems like as soon as we bought it, they didn't bother us anymore, so we just pretty much use it for target practice. But I do have my own gun now. I do.
Very good. And what is, do you know, I mean, you may not know, but I'll ask, what is the sort of state of the firearms carry, your ability to carry a firearm, get a CCW in Maryland? Has it improved at all, or is it kind of remained the same?
It's remained the same, especially getting a handgun. You have to get a license in order to have the right to purchase a handgun. But once you do that, they don't give you a fight on giving it to you, as long as you pay the state your fee that they want. Now, what they are trying to do is control where you can actually carry it. They're like, one thing I've read recently was if you're any sort of like 100 feet within like a gathering, you can't carry. But that's been a fight. I'm not sure. I haven't followed up on it since, but it's been a fight that it shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah, the prohibited places thing is a thing in a lot of places. And It's funny, right before we talked, I was scrolling through my YouTube feed and I subscribed to Four Boxes Diner. I recommend everyone else does too, by the way. It's a constitutional attorney and he does kind of what Gutowski does, but he's way more focused just on the courts. And there was something about a major win, in all caps, of course, in the thumbnail, about prohibited places, I think. So I'm going to go look at that when we're done here. And once I look at it, I'll talk to you guys about it on Gutowski when I get done with him. Prohibited places is just a backdoor to prevent people from carrying a gun, to make it more difficult than it needs to be to carry a gun, to try to dissuade you from doing it. And a lot of states have had those laws, and they're getting struck down left and right. So hopefully somebody in Maryland will
they are.
challenge that in court. I'm sorry, you're going to say?
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. There's a local group trying to fight it.
Okay, good. That's what you want to hear. The NRA is too busy defending itself from lawsuits to do anything useful right now. But hopefully that's on the mend as well. Hopefully that's changing, because we need them around. They're the biggest gun rights group there is. So, your incident happened about how long ago?
I would say about 2017.
Okay.
In the fall of 2017.
Okay. And just kind of let us know where were you? What were you doing? And what led you to understand there was trouble afoot, and kind of walk us through it in your own words.
Well, this happened at a gas station. I was coming home from work one day. I worked actually in Tyson's Corner in Virginia, so I had that long commute to PG County. And I've been, how it got to this point is I went to a gas station at night after work. I was a second shifter, so it was probably maybe 9, 10 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And usually I don't do that, but then previously, like a couple months before, I decided, like, after work it's too late to get gas, but when I didn't get gas, then that night, twice it happened where the next morning the whole town I was in lost power. So I was running on, I had to go all the way to Tyson's on the tank that's barely left of any gas. So this time I didn't want to do that. So this time I was like, after work I'm going to get gas. And this is a unique gas station where it shares a parking lot with a 7-Eleven and a small building with 4 businesses. So because of that, it's usually really busy all times of day and night. But when I showed up at around that time, there was no one there. Mm-hmm. Absolutely not a soul in the gas station or in the 7-Eleven. And since all the business was closed, no one was there. Right. So I was by myself. And I didn't realize that until I started pumping gas. And I looked around, and I only looked around because of this channel, what John preaches. It's the only reason why I looked. Because I was like, I'm at a gas station, stuff happens. So I decided to look around. And that's when I noticed, why is there no one here? This is usually a happening spot. No one was at the 7-Eleven. I even looked inside the gas station convenience store. And usually you can see a cashier right through it. There was not a cashier. And that's when my creeper alarm started going off.
You're wondering if the rapture had occurred and you missed it. You didn't go to heaven.
Yes.
I mean, that's what it sounds like.
It was really strange. Mm-hmm. And then as I was looking at the gas station, all of a sudden around the corner, hidden from where the pump I was at, there was a car decided to start to pull up. And I remember this car. It was an all blacked out mid-90s Chevy Caprice. No, not Caprice, Lumina. Okay. And Luminas, I don't know, they're not really sporty looking, but this guy decided to make it all blacked out, really nice. It actually looked really nice.
Really?
But yes. But the reason why I looked at him, because he was going really slow. And he had a really super blacked out windows. So I couldn't really see much as he was approaching. And I remember making a mental note saying, if there's no one else here, if he decides to get the pump right next to mine or right across from me, where he's within 3 feet of me, that's when I'm going to start moving away. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, that's what he did. We're in a really slow pace. He decided to park right at the pump right next to me. And then that's when I started backing up, and that's when he rolled down his window. And that's when I saw 2 guys in there. One was in the passenger seat, and the driver was wearing a balaclava.